Happy Saturday!
I'm hungover.
Panda's hungover.
I'm drinking Pedialyte. It comes in strawberry lemonade flavor now. There is a bunch of flavors you gave me. There's a berry lemonade, cherry. You listed like 6 different flavors.
You know what goes good with Pedialyte lemonade strawberry?
Blood, murder,
Blood and
death.
murder! You ready?
Mhm.
Let's go into this.
Whoop whoop.
Alright. If it came down to it, I'd have to kill the man.
Yeah. Sorry.
My bugs clustered on the windshield of flapping plastic, gathering in heavy numbers.
We open the windows.
We can open the windows,
I'm
sure.
sorry.
You could have asked me to do this before I went live.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yay, Taylor's gonna kill a man. Oh, the thing that I was saying earlier, while I was like lying in bed, the white butt. So I'm gonna start saying white butt whenever Taylor is being like unfair to herself. It's like reverse white butt, but it's still white butt. You're being unfair to Taylor. Taylor. God, girl, be nicer to yourself.
So it's not just wide butt, but it's wide butt with the 3 T's instead of 2.
White butts.
Wide butts.
Butt.
Wide butt. My bugs gathered on the windshield, gathering in heavy numbers. The faster moving dragonflies and hornets began to pelt the plastic, attempting to drive themselves through it. Most died in the process.
The plastic of the
windshield.
The windshield. Plastic?
Yeah. He has a truck or van or something like that with plastic windshields.
Right, because Shatterbird.
He swerved sharply to try to throw the bugs off, but there wasn't enough in the way of momentum or wind. My other flying insects began to ferry larger black carpenter ants onto the windscreen.
So they figured out which car it was, huh?
Yep. To use their sharp bites to penetrate the plastic sheeting.
Which bugs?
Large black carpenter ants.
Oh. You know, Taylor, you should break into like the Cal Academy of Sciences or something. Get yourself some leafcutter ants.
Ooh, leafcutter ants.
I'm just saying, you should. I feel like Taylor, if you want to go like full bad guy, you should or rather, I feel like she had that whole she had being past tense now, because Shatterbird, but she had this whole terrarium in her old lair, right?
Yeah, I think she still has it.
I mean, I said had because Shatterbird, right?
Oh, Shatterbird might have broken it all.
Right? Because it was glass terrarium, right?
Yeah.
But like, I'm thinking to myself, like Taylor, you should like custom order bugs. Like, I watched those BBC documentaries, and oh my god, the things out there. Get like those giant millipedes, those giant centipedes. Oh, poisonous things, right? She can control scorpions, from what I remember, right?
Yes, she can.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, Taylor, you survive all this, you should go to Coil and be like, I demand a raise. I want a raise. I want rare bugs. Rare, very poisonous, very creepy, very crawly, the biggest, the nightmarishest. I would go wild to be like, so I've earned myself a raise, and I want bugs from the fucking Amazon. I will take great care of them. Trust me, I know how to get these bugs to bone. You just have to get me like, a few. And I will have myself a fucking army. Like, the overturn time for like bugs is a lot shorter than it is for like humans, right? Our type species. Sorry,
just breed yourself an army.
No, seriously, seriously, just can you imagine how horrifying that would be? She's a basement full of bugs. It's like that scene from like Fate Zero, but like like all the bugs in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just think it'd be really cool if she had one of those. I'm sorry, I got like really excited at the idea. Like, it's like, carpenter ants, and I'm like, that's nice, but I think you could get something better. I think you really should get yourself something better. I mean, obviously, like, she's in a pinch right now, but I would love to see what she can do with like fucking scorpions and shit. Like, ooh. The potential.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
We were making holes, but the attempts of my swarm to worm their way through the holes and open them enough for the more dangerous bugs to get inside were stymied. by the wind and the flapping of the plastic. Every movement, however small, threw off my ability to track where the existing holes were. We had a bead on him, and the dogs were better suited for rough terrain than the moving vehicle. It was only a minute before we caught up. As I'd guessed, a white moving van with a giant icon of a hand on the back with the words, "Haul it."
Haul?
Mm-hmm.
Haul it?
Haul it.
Like Haul, like U-Haul?
Yeah, U-Haul.
So wait, there's just words on the back that say haul it?
On the side. Oh yeah, on the back of it.
Okay, she did make these, right? They're just the paint.
She?
And then this is the truck, right?
This is the truck,
like,
yeah.
It's like a discount U-Haul kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Missed opportunity. Why wouldn't she just drive a truck around town that says haul ass? You know, it's really funny. My daytime persona at work, it's just like, "Hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'll be taking care of you today. What brings you into the office?" And in my off hours, I'm just kind of like, "Woo! Blood, murder, haul ass." Like, the duality. I'm insane. I am insane.
I might have found it amusing if the circumstances were slightly different.
Haul it.
Haul it.
Okay, I watch Bob's Burgers, okay? There's just so many, like, puns. There's so many funny things you could put on the side of your truck. Like, haul it, huh?
Uh-huh.
Like, haul it is like, okay, like, you know, like, I ain't your hauler back, girl.
Lol.
You know? I'm sorry. Wait, what timeline was that song out yet? Just when in the timeline of this fic, but this story, whatever. I'm just saying. Like, I would put shit like "I ain't your holla back girl" on it. I would put shit like holler and shout. Like, I would put like horrible. I would just like, if I have to live outside of a truck, I can at least amuse myself a little bit. I can at least, like, you know. It's a completely different sort of terrorism. I'm just
might just draw a little too much attention, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I just think it's funny. You know, I know we joked about Panda's version of Slaughterhouse 9, but I'd say Panda's version of Slaughterhouse 9 is a little uncomfortably close to like the Joker from Batman, because everything would just be funny for stupid reasons. Like, just truly. They see me trolling. They hate. Go on.
He noticed us shortly after we noticed him. Siberian flickered into existence on top of the vehicle.
Ooh!
Standing, her legs shifting to adjust her balance as it hit a crack in the pavement and rocked slightly to one side. I heard Amy shriek as she saw Siberian. Tattletale veered left, hard, and Gru turned us right. We each cut into side streets, running parallel with the truck. Bentley was lagging slightly behind, but I caught a glimpse of the other group as we made our way past the major intersection. 2 blocks away, slightly behind us. I heard an explosion, and Amy clutched me tighter in reaction. Glancing down, I could see her arms around my ribcage, the hand with the maimed fingers pulled slightly off and away so it wouldn't get bumped or jostled. Trickster was handling the opening salvo. The objects he was swapping for grenades weren't even close in size, signs and traffic cones, so the timing was horribly off. Siberian didn't move from her perch. Brew steered Sirius into a sharp left, and the dog's claws skidded for a grip on the flooded street before we turned. We got 1 block, and then turned right, putting us directly behind them. I could see Siberian tense, as if intending to jump, but another explosion from Trickster kept her in place. She was protecting the truck, surrounding it with her force field. I wasn't sure how it was able to interact with the road, but a grenade going off under the front of the truck failed to achieve anything.
Honestly, this is amazing, and I would love to see this in like live action. That would be insane. Dude, these kinds of like car chase, like fight battle things are always great.
Yeah, they're just fun.
They're just great.
Yeah.
You don't have to go full Mad Max, but I don't know why. You throw in like a fight on top of a truck or like a train or a moving vehicle, and suddenly it's just like, oh, the aesthetic, the look.
There would be nothing to stop her from staying there until the truck reached the other 9. It would out Siberian's real nature to any of the 9 who didn't know, and that wasn't a total loss, but it also meant our teammates would be blindsided by her arrival. I felt something bump into my hands. Gru was holding the chains that led to Sirius's muzzle. He bumped my hands again, and I took hold of them. With his own hands free, leaning hard against me for support, he reached
Bet
out.
you liked that.
Huh?
Bet you guys liked that.
He...
Sorry.
Leaning hard against me for support, he reached out and buried Siberian in the truck in a carpet of darkness. Following, we soon plunged into the wake. The second we were out of sight, I shifted our position so we were running in the left-hand lane rather than the center of the road. Didn't want Siberian guessing our position and pouncing on us. I could sense the surroundings with my bugs, but my power was diminished.
Okay, so just making sure I'm on the same page.
Yes.
There is a car. There's a haul-it truck.
Yeah.
Just trundling down the road. Siberian is on top of it like a surfer trying to like get her bearings and protect the truck.
Right.
And there's a cloud of darkness around the whole truck with Gru and the Undersiders and
Yeah,
the
Gru,
bugs.
Taylor, and Amy, I think.
You're right. But
yeah.
they're riding the right dogs.
Yes.
Okay, maybe this doesn't look as. This is going to be very hard to put together even with like CG.
Yeah. I would like to see it tried.
Yeah, you can picture it.
Mm-hmm. I could sense the surroundings with my bugs, but my power was diminished. I was aware of Gru, Amy, and Bentley, of Tattletale, Trickster, and Sundancer a short distance away, keeping pace. I could see Siberian in the truck. I couldn't detect any sign that Gru was projecting anything with Siberian's power. Whatever she was doing to the truck, it was protecting her from him. The upside was that the driver was blind. I could tell because he drifted. It was gradual at best.
Wait, is he naturally blind, or this isn't the darkness, right?
It's the darkness.
Oh.
He's completely surrounded by darkness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Darkness, anyway.
I could tell because he drifted. It was gradual at best, but he veered slightly to the left. With no point of reference, he didn't know he needed to correct. A moment later, he smashed into the face of a tall building. Siberian's power meant the truck took no damage, and the driver corrected course, but soon enough, he began to veer again. This wasn't getting us anywhere, and we were running the risk that he'd hit someone, crash into or through an inhabited area. Through my swarm, I could feel Tattletale waving. Gru hadn't swamped her in darkness, so there was nothing hampering her progress. What did she want? More to the point, how the hell were we supposed to communicate? I reached a block ahead of her and formed my bugs into a word. What? She tapped her hand to her eye, then to the top of her head. Again, I formed my bugs into a word. What? She tapped her head a few more times. I was disappointed that a girl with superpowered intuition couldn't come up with a better signal. What did she want? Eyes could mean see, head could be about thinking? Her power? She reached back over Trickster's shoulder with one hand while holding the reins with the other. My bugs had to settle on her finger to follow her gesture. Pointing? She was pointing behind him. At Sundancer. Eyes, brain, Sundancer. She wanted to see, to use her power, to use Sundancer? Tattletale was waving now, the opposite of a beckoning gesture. A scooping motion, as if to push us away. She wanted us to go away, to get back. She wanted to deploy Sundancer's power. That made sense. And she wanted to be sure we were out of the line of fire. She could only do that if she saw us, and she could only use her power if she could follow what was going on. From my seat behind Gru, I steered Sirius around another corner, then brought us up behind Tattletale's group. We gradually caught up. Do it! I shouted, as we began to pull alongside them. Siberian would be out of range of Gru's darkness in moments if Gru wasn't behind her, replenishing and extending his power. Where is she? Tattletale shouted.
Where is she? Sorry.
Sundancer was leaning back, her hand out to one side. The orb she was creating was small. I pointed. The orb was getting larger, the size of a baseball, a beach ball, an armchair. As it grew, it drifted farther away, higher. By the time it was directly overhead, it was large enough to swallow up my bedroom whole.
Ooh, wait, the Sundancer's
son, yeah.
So that's, okay, that's a really big ball, or Taylor has a really small bedroom, or both, right?
Yes.
I'm hearing Katamari music.
Gotta stop them!
Go, sorry, go on.
Gotta stop them! Tattletale called out.
Gotta go fast!
We blindside them! Civilians? Sundancer cried out. Some! Let me know! She grunted as Bentley stumbled over a pothole. Got it, I replied. I tracked the people in nearby buildings and kept my arm extended to point at Siberian. Got to use my power again, Rue shouted. Signal us, Tattletale called out. We pulled right, plunging into the darkness. It was thinning out and faint shafts of light were piercing through. We crossed the road behind Siberian and Gru blasted them with darkness, replenishing the effect. We continued across the street, moving behind cover. Only a few people in the upcoming area. We had to be close to Regent's group. Time was short. I drew images with my bugs to point her in the right direction, and then formed the word with my bugs as the other group continued forward. Now! We passed out of the darkness just in time for me to catch sight of the orb. It was larger now. Large enough that when it fell, it had to be touching both of the sidewalks on the 4-lane road. Even with the building between us and the impact zone, I could feel the wave of heated air, and I saw the billowing steam. Rue took the reins and guided Sirius away before it could reach us. Sundancer hadn't hit Siberian. She dropped the orb straight into the road, 100 feet ahead of them, and she'd plunged it down hard. My bugs died as Siberian approached the impact site, burned up by the heated air. I could imagine what had happened. The miniature sun would have burned a hole into the ground, melted, or even vaporized pavement. Affected by Siberian's power or not, they were still affected by gravity. I couldn't say what would have happened in the long run. Had they hit the wall or floor of the pit and used Siberian's power to make it as invulnerable as they were? Or had they plunged through it, burying themselves some distance underground? A nearby building was burning. I saw Sundancer forming another orb near the site. I wasn't sure what she was doing, but the flames on the building were shrinking and dying out. This wasn't a victory. It was a stall. We couldn't stop Siberian so long as she was able to grant invulnerability to her other self, but we could keep her from reaching her teammates in any meaningful amount of time. It was interesting, I had to note, that she was affecting the truck and not her maker. A limitation? A drawback? Could she not use her power on her real body? Clouds of white steam intermingled with the black tendrils of Gru's darkness. We stopped running, but we didn't approach. I focused my power on the bugs in the ground. Ants, earthworms. Was she tunneling? No. As far as I could tell, the ground was intact. She wasn't moving. What did you do? Amy whispered from behind me. I didn't have the breath to explain. Drop the darkness? I asked. Gru nodded. The darkness cleared, but the steam didn't make it any easier to see. I saw the shadowy silhouette of Tattletale a distance away. I practically had to peel Amy off of me to get to my cell phone. Tattletale? I asked, the second she picked up. She's still down there, Tattletale replied. Why? Hurt?
Who's down there? What? Sorry.
Siberian.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Don't know. Planning her next move? Don't get the impression she's tunneling. My bugs don't either. Hey, I'm wondering if Siberian can affect her real self. Why doesn't she just grab him and run? Good question, but that's not our real concern. What is? Them. It took 3 or 4 seconds before I saw them arrive, stepping through the mist to stop a distance from the hole. Identical costumes, all concealing, with gas mask filters on the front and tinted panes for the upper faces. Each was color-coded. 4 flew, one using a jetpack. One was on the ground, a style of super speed I recognized as batteries. Rounding out their group was the ghostly image of a bear.
Oh, it's happening! The thing is happening!
The thing is happening!
Miss Piggy's plan!
Ursa something from Legend Squad. She had 3 forms, or she duplicated herself into 3 states or something. I wasn't sure about the naming convention. One for the big bear, one for the small, and one for the woman. Legend, Battery, Cash. Tattletale rattled off names through the phone. Chariot, Glory Girl. Amy squeaked, barely audible. A failed attempt
Glory hole
to speak.
Sorry. It was so funny. I keep forgetting her name's Glory Girl because I'm just like, lol.
The flying man in the lead pointed his hand towards Tattletale. If that was Legend, one laser blast could take all of them out. I wasn't sure if he'd spotted us through the mist and smoke. Want me to use my power? Gru asked. No. Tattletale's voice came from my phone. Skitter, inform them. I drew words out with the flying insect, big and bold, with an arrow pointing down at the crater. Siberian plus her creator. Legend snapped his head from the words to us. Shit, Tattletale said. No sooner was the word out of her mouth than Siberian came tearing out of the hole, truck held over her head. A section of the street was torn free and flipped through the air. Legend blasted it out of existence with an indigo flash of light. Cash! Legend bellowed the word. He began pelting Siberian with lasers, beams capable of leveling buildings, and she ignored them. Cash? I saw the man in the black costume raising his hands. Dark lines began to surround Siberian and the truck, forming complex geometric angles. In the blink of an eye, as Siberian reached the peak of her leap, panes of glossy black material snapped into place between the dark lines. The resulting geometry contracted as he meant to squish Siberian. It shattered instead. She hit the ground in a crouch, holding the truck in one hand, and the man in the black robe staggered, blood gushing from his nose. Legend caught him before he could collapse. Cash, right. I was dimly aware of him, though I'd never seen his picture. FYI, up to this point, Taylor thought Cash was spelled C-A-S-H.
C-A-S-H,
But she realized, oh, it's actually cache, the memory cache.
Yeah, like the computer thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whoop. You're all gonna die.
Yay.
You're all gonna die.
Siberian charged the heroes, and they cleared out of the way in an instant. The one in power armor, Chariot, slid across the ground with the aid of his jetpack and built-in roller skates. Legend, and the one in red, Glory Girl by process of elimination, took flight. Ursa whatever leaped to one side.
Ursa whatever! Personally, I find this really funny.
They were the mobile group, the group that was able to get here fastest. They'd seen the sun appear, they'd seen it hit, and they'd come to step in. Siberian didn't stop to engage the enemy. She continued on her course, charging through the ground floor of a building as she swung the truck in a lazy back-and-forth arc. I could see the roof buckling as vital supports disappeared. Legend handed Cash to Ursa and gave chase. I could see Chariot raising his hand to his right ear, pausing. He, Battery, and Glory Girl turned and advanced towards Tattletale's group.
Sorry, I cracked my back.
Can we go? Amy asked from behind me. I didn't think... There was a pause. We could fight. My power would be largely foiled by those suits.
Fight!
But Gru had his power.
Oh yeah, you guys have Gru. He can steal people's powers now, right? And there's a bunch of people with very stealable, awesome powers around, right?
For as long as they're inside his fog, yes.
I'm just saying. Look, I'm sorry. I'm doing like the villain hands thing again because I'm just like, I feel like I would just be a terrible like bad guy, good guy. How do I put this? I'm loving Trickster's whole vibe thing because I would just be like the most chaotic thing ever. Good guy, bad guy. I'm just here for fun. We'll work for food. I would be a little maniac. Hang on.
No, Tattletale said. Come here and bring Amy. They want to talk.
Oh.
Amy pulled back, and I grabbed her wrist. Before she could hop off Sirius, Gru was directing the dog across the road. Chariot and Glory Girl pulled off their helmets as we arrived.
Oh no.
Chariot was black, his narrow triangular face largely covered in power armor.
Cool.
He had the scruff of a weak teenage beard on his chin.
I just, oh my god, I can picture that so clearly. It's funny. I'm sorry, it's funny. The weak teenage beard. Damn, Tay-Tay, that is harsh, but I love it.
Mm-hmm. Glory Girl bore little resemblance to any of the last times I'd seen her.
Ooh, did she cut her hair?
There were dark circles under her eyes. She stared at me. No, at Amy. The glare seethed with a raw, seething hatred. It made every line of her face hard. You've joined them now? She spoke, breaking the brief silence.
Vic, don't be mean. Victoria, do not be mean. They came to save her before you did. Let that sink in for a second. You guys are her fucking family. The villains came to save her first. Like, I get it. You guys have your shit to deal with, but, you know, you guys are not dealing with your shit well. I guess like, you cannot blame her for this. They helped her. They saved her life. She thought that maybe they were coming to get her at first, but the fact of it is, they've been nicer to her than you guys have. They have. They come on, stop looking at me like that. Engage with me. What do you think? Am I reading too much into this? But that's how I feel about it.
I mean, like I said, I know what happens in the story, so I'm worried about commenting too much. But
you're just gonna let me stuff my foot in my mouth up to the knee.
So. No. Okay, here's the thing. From Taylor's perspective, from Amy's perspective, this all makes sense, right? The things led from A to B to C, and now Amy is riding on a dog behind Taylor, right? But from Glory Girl's perspective, what's going on, right?
Yeah, I know. From Glory Girl's perspective, it's like, oh, you did something bad to me, and then and now you're joining with the villains. You've clearly gone down the dark side. Like, I get what she's seeing also, but I guess I mean, you know, that's the good part of the writing here, that, like, you know, the characters, they all make a lot of sense. Everybody's very, like, it makes sense, you know, teenagers, they got their heads up their butts. Like, you know, I don't miss being a teenager. I get you. But at the same time, I'm also just kind of like, okay, I know things look bad right now, but you got to pull back and think for a second that the villains fucking came to save your sister before you did. So you can't be too harsh on them. And I don't know, maybe she's a little angry. I feel like she should be. If she has a heart in there, she should be a little angry at herself for that. Because I would be pissed off if I found out that, you know, somebody else had found out that my brother was in danger before I knew. And if I prided myself on being a good person and a good guy, like, I'm a medical professional. I took the oath. They had, I'm only a dentist, but we had to take the Hippocratic Oath too. We took the oath upon getting into dental school because in clinic, we treat patients, like in school. And there's such gravity that really comes with that, the white coat ceremony. You get your coat. You don't have the DDS etched onto it until you graduate. You have to do that yourself. I still have my coat. The gravity that comes with that ceremony of, like, all of you packed into, all 88 of you, at least in my case, 88, all 88 of you packed into a single room and reading the oath together, holding up your hands and getting the white coat put on you. There's a sense of responsibility here. And I don't know if there's, like, anything similar to a white coat ceremony for, like, heroes, but I imagine if you are,
I doubt it.
You know what I mean? If you're choosing to be a hero, somewhere in your heart, you have taken an oath to protect other people, save, in the same way that I've taken that oath. So I feel like if she has a heart in there somewhere, she needs to actually be a little angry at herself, because, like, if I take an oath to help people, I would be upset.
I do wonder about that. She probably is angry at herself.
Yeah, I feel like that would make sense for her character and for, like, you know, just a human reaction. But as a teenager, and I'm like head desking over all of these fucking teenagers being like, wow, I don't have my shit together. I do not miss being young. I mean, okay, I say this while nursing a hangover and drinking Pedialyte from the bottle. Like, I do not miss being young. 10 years ago, I drank back my family's vacation in Cancun, and now I'm just kind of like, yeah, I had a few beers, where getting old sucks. But like, I do not miss being a teenager. If I was offered like immortality, like I understand now why Chinese immortality is 长寿不老, like live long and you do not age. I would love to just exist forever as like a 27-year-old, because I think I was hotter at 27 and my body processed things really well. But you know, like I will never miss being 15 and not having my shit together. Because actually, all things considered, I had my shit together better than a lot of 15-year-olds at the time, at least academically.
But still.
But yeah, like these kinds of feelings. Like I remember being immature, and this is like conjuring up some like cringe. Like, oh god, I remember when I was like this, when we were young and immature and stupid.
Crispy says, "I think Victoria."
Crispy.
Hi, Crispy. He says, "I think Victoria has good reason to not give Amy the benefit of the doubt right now, in particular."
Well, yeah, of course she does. But at the same time, us as the readers who are privy to everything that Wildbow has given us details for, you know, it's like, ugh. You know, when you know everything and the characters don't, and you're just kind of, and I'm at that point where I'm like munching popcorn, I'm just throwing some at the screen and being like, you need to talk to each other. Why don't you talk to each other? I know this is not the time, but still. Look, I'm having fun. Go on.
I just wanted to help against the 9, Amy said. Her voice was small, defeated. Can I? If you open your mouth and ask if you can use your power on me, I won't be held responsible for what I do.
Oh my god, girl!
Glory girl growled.
Hey, there's adults here, right? There's adults here, right?
There are, yes.
Fucking do something, you idiots!
Don't hate me, please. I don't care what you think of me, but hate is too close to... Amy trailed off. Too close to what? Glory Girl asked. She shrugged. Anger gave an edge to her words. Aren't you gonna say it? Can't you admit what you did? Amy hung her head, and her forehead rested between my shoulders, hair hanging down. She shook her head, but I doubted Glory Girl could see it. Let's put vendettas aside, Chariot spoke.
Thank you.
He smirked. We have bigger fish to fry. The 9, Trickster spoke.
Wait, Chariot.
Yeah?
Is he a teenager too?
He's the teenager. The one who's working for Coil.
Right, the weak teenage beard.
Yeah.
Where are the adults?
Actually, I'm not sure.
My god, do something. You guys are the adults. I'm assuming they're fighting Siberia.
That's right. I think the advanced team split up. So it's just Chariot and Glory Girl who came to talk.
You know, I know it's desperate straits and all, but this is why, like, they wait until you've graduated high school to recruit you for the army, because we ain't got time for this shit. Like, if there's a war to be fought and bombs to be dodged and, like, people to be shot, we ain't got time to deal with this bullshit with your teenage drama. This ain't Degrassi, motherfuckers. Like...
Let's put vendettas aside. Yeah, we have bigger fish to fry.
This is all just, you know what? If you take away, like, some of the superpower stuff, no, not even. Sometimes when I'm like, I'm such a peanut gallery for this kind of thing, but I swear to God, I feel like I'm watching a telenovela or like Degrassi with superpowers.
Yeah, I guess so.
Teenagers! I didn't even watch Degrassi. I tried and it was cringe, so I stopped. And I'm just like, no way people have this much drama to be dealing with. See, here it makes sense because there's a lot of life or death situations and people have powers and things are complicated, TM. But yeah, I could not watch those kinds of like TV shows even when I was a kid because I was just kind of like, can people just get their heads out of their asses for 2 seconds? Just 2 seconds, I say, as a person who hasn't really kept a lot of their friends from high school because I guess other people can get preoccupied in this shit, even if you aren't. But anyway.
The 9, Trickster spoke. The 9, Chariot said. But it's not my place to talk tactics. I'm just the rookie, the messenger. He extended one hand toward Tattletale.
The messenger whom nobody wants to shoot.
There was an earbud in his palm. The director of the PRT would like to have a word with you.
With Tattletale.
Yep. End chapter.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah. Well,
Car chase makes everything go faster.
It really
vroom,
does.
Vroom.
I think I read faster too.
Oh, you did. You did.
Yeah.
Well, if it wasn't too hard to follow, I mean, you can keep reading that speed. It's cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shall we stop here?
Yeah.
All right.
I think I ate too much.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's cool. Like, this is a good way to get rid of a hangover. Greasy pizza, Pedialyte, and blood and murder.
Blood and murder.
And mayhem. Lots of mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be my. Oh, I think that would be my cape name.
Mm-hmm.
Mayhem. That's a good one.
Thanks for listening, Panda.
Uh-huh.
And thanks to everyone else for listening as well. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, go ahead and leave them.
You know where to leave them.
Yeah, YouTube or Discord. And Panda will be keeping an eye out on the channels. Isn't that right?
Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, generally how it goes...
I do.
Generally how it goes is I keep an eye out on the channels, and then I tell her whenever someone posts something.
It's been working.
It's been working.
It works very well. Do you have a problem with it?
No problem with it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Since I can't look at spoilers or the spoiler channel. Ugh.
Soon. In maybe 10 years, you'll be able to look at those channels. All right. Good night, everyone.